Strong.
What's going on, everyone? Episode 10 of Between the Dots coming at you. This is our second season, episode 10. Joined always by my good friends, Mr. Colin Kajowski and Rory Keith. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. Been in and out a little bit, but getting to the holidays, so it's nice to hop on with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I'm probably not doing as good as Rory is over there after we got some news to talk about this week.
Yeah, so we'll get into, Klingberg's out for the year. Is that the news you're referring to?
I was talking about Patty Kane, but Klingberg being out, we'll get into it.
Yeah, that might be good news for you, actually, as a Leafs fan.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was saying.
Patrick Kane obviously coming to Detroit. Klingberg out for the year. We got some news regarding the salary cap as well as the NHL draft and a whole lot more fun to get into. We're live here on YouTube every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. So thanks for those of you who are tuning in. And yeah, guys, why don't we get right into the kind of the big news, which is Patty Kane finding a home in Detroit.
What do you guys think of the deal? 1 year, 2.7 or so million. I thought he was gonna get a bit more than that.
I thought that's a steal, considering that Corey Perry was making $4 million on a 1 year deal, and look what they got out of that contract. So that's a steal. The fact that you're bringing in like a veteran player who's really skilled could help them kind of push themselves into a wild card spot. Really like it for them.
Where's Toronto here? I swear I thought he was going to the Leafs. 2.7? They could have done that.
They could have now after Klingberg on LTIR. But yeah, I was nervous that it was going to be just more than a couple years, because then you're getting that territory of if he retires or the surgery and the recovery wasn't as successful as they originally thought, and he's just got to pack it in early, then you're stuck with that cap, right? So seeing that it's kind of like a trial year, give him like 50 games, see how he handles himself. Yeah, I like it a lot. And they're starting him with the Brinket. Brinket and Joe Veleno's getting the first look, it seems, in the center spot between them. So I think he's earned it. So
if he can find like a third of what he was when he was originally with DeBrincat, like putting up 100-point seasons, then you guys are going to have a great chemistry on that line, and that's going to be good for the Wings. It just adds another threat in the Atlantic Division, which is just so awesome for all the teams competing who are trying to make playoffs as well.
Yeah, that's a win. I was at the Buffalo game last night and saw my first Patty Kane Wings jersey. Actually, somebody was wearing one. It's like,
that's
man,
awesome.
Before he even plays, and he might only play 50 games in that jersey. You're already committed.
Did it look weird seeing the Patty Kane Wings jersey?
It did, because I saw 88, and it was like, I don't even know who's worn 88 recently. So, well, Daniel Sprong just had to change his number, but yeah, I had to double take there.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's funny, too, thinking about, for me, like, obviously I don't watch a lot of Wings games, nor do I watch the Sharks play, but tomorrow night I may have to tune in to the Wings and the Sharks, because I honestly, with the opponent, too, do you guys think that's part of, like, they put this thought into his first game, being like, because he said he could have played right away. He could have played in Buffalo last night. He didn't. Do you think they're like, okay, let's start him off against the Sharks, because obviously they're not a top-tier team in the NHL?
Yeah, but neither is Buffalo. And Buffalo's his hometown, so I thought it was a great narrative for him. But, yeah, he's probably thinking, like, oh, it's point night either way, potentially. And, like, they're San Jose. But even before the game yesterday, he was practicing top power play. And he was taking line rushes. So that's why I was sold that he was playing last night. But I don't know. Maybe the coach just wanted to give him a little bit more time to condition.
You want to
Sharks.
get a little trade going, Rory, for Patty Kane? A little Matthews for Kane? What do you think?
Let's see how tomorrow goes.
Sharks are a bit of a wagon actually lately. They're like 5-4-1 in their last 10. They have 2 less wins than the Oilers do right now, which is like crazy to think about how bad they started. But they've been playing some okay hockey recently. They've definitely been like, even like Columbus, I find, has been like, you gotta, if you're in the NHL, you gotta come ready to play, because if you don't, like, even that bottom tier team can still end up beating you. So can't take any of these games for granted. That's for sure.
It's like the Yotes, too. Have you guys seen them? They just, what was it, the last 5 games, they've beat the last 5 cup champs or something in consecutive games.
Yeah,
Impressive
really cool.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like, another team who's struggling is the Blackhawks. They're still struggling, but Bedard's been amazing as well too. Like, living up to all the hype, things like that. Like, he's we were talking the other day about who fits into your top 12 NHL forwards in the league, and I think I would put Bedard inside my top 12 NHL forwards in the league without a doubt right now. The way, like, he's close, just under a point per game on that Blackhawks team, where he's like literally playing with like Athanasiou and somebody else. It's a different lot. Like, it's just the fact he's a point per game on that team is, and he's just, some of the moves he's made. No, he's definitely inside my top 10. You put him on an actual team that has some line mates for him, and he's easily over a point per game right now as an 18-year-old rookie. So.
Speaking of top 12 in the NHL, have you guys seen what Kucherov's been up to? That guy puts up 2 points a night, it seems like. He's been on a tear with the Lightning. Not that it's not a surprise to anyone, but Kucherov has been good this year.
Yeah.
Surprise would be that the Lightning are struggling. They lost like 4 or 5 in a row. But being Atlantic fans, we don't mind that.
That's right, yeah. We need that, actually, in fact. Yeah, I would put definitely Kucherov inside my top 12 NHL forwards. I think I'd also put Braden Point inside my top 12 NHL forwards for the entire NHL. Like, it was easy deciding the top 8 when we were discussing the other day, but it was, the tough ones were like that 10 to 12 area, and it was like guys like Crosby or Matthew Tkachuk or JT Miller or Nylander. I haven't said any sends
You
yet.
have Brady in your top 12?
I do not. I do
Good.
not. I do not. But like, with all things considered, like, he does bring a lot of intangibles that you could make an argument for. Like, right now he's on pace for 49 goals this year. So you could make an argument for that. But no, I'll go through it real quick. My top 12 was, I had McDavid, McKinnon, Draisaitl was my top 3. Then I had Jack Hughes 4th, Kucherov 5th, Pasternak 6th, Panarin 7th, Braden Point 8, Austin Matthews 9.
Oh my God, that is brutal. You're doing that on purpose. Matthews is top 4.
Most recent to win an MVP beside McDavid. I will say that. All right, he's definitely inside that. Over like a guy like over Panarin and Point, you could make an argument putting him at 7, but I can't justify putting him over like Pasternak or Kucherov, just because of what those guys have had success in postseason wise. Like, I'm not putting him over those guys. Jack Hughes is on another level right now, so I'm not putting him in there. Anyways, 10 was Matthew Tkachuk, 11 was Crosby, 12 was Bedard. I could even move Bedard up that list ahead of Crosby and Matthew Tkachuk for top 12 current players. For forwards. So that was my list that I kind of created the other day. I was just wanted to make one to see kind of where, like, because like, you could even make the case right now, like, who's been the Leafs' best player this year, Nylander or Matthews?
Yeah, Nylander's been better, but I still think all in all, Matthews is the better player.
Right. And that's why I had Matthews inside the top 12 is because most recent to win an MVP.
Come on,
right?
that's why you got him in the top 12.
It is. That's why I had him in there. And I thought about putting Nylander in there as well as a guy like JT Miller, but you got to consider it like who has shown it the most over a few like long period of time. And for me, it was like I'd throw Matthews in there. I was debating on Kyle Connor, but like all he really does is just kind of score goals, which is like obviously that's great, but we're talking all around aspects of the game. What a guy's bringing to the game. Like Crosby's a great leader. Matthew Tkachuk's a great leader. That's why I had them in there as well.
Do you think Brad Marchand's just outside of that, or do you think he's a little bit more down your list?
He was a guy I had like right there. Like I had him right around 12. Like that like 10 to 12 area is tough. Like you could have like maybe Marchand. You could have like honestly like you could maybe even throw Stützle in there. You could you could make arguments for those guys. Tkachuk, like any guy's kind of top line guy. JT Miller, Pettersson, like.
What about Ovi?
He's slowing down a bit this year, but I had him in there in terms of like his leadership and what he's done career wise. Like he's like I'd say the next tier down from there just because he's slipped up a bit this year. But like overall, that's like I'm like Tage Thompson having a bad year, but originally I would have thought he was in that conversation. Buffalo's a bit of a mess right now. They're 10-14, so I those are kind of my guys that I have in that range there. All it could be anyone, like maybe even Aho you could make a case for, but it's that 10 to 20 range is not far off from each other. You could interchange a few of the guys.
It's kind of wide open. Yeah, it'd be crazy how much your list probably changes, or how the order changes, Falks, if you just like measure or like change what the measurement is. Like, oh, who are you taking if it's Cup final, Game 7? Like, I would imagine Crosby probably shoots up that list versus like,
yeah,
you're starting a franchise who's going to be your first pick. Then obviously that's like Bedard.
Yeah, give me Justin Williams. Top 12.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, Justin Williams. Bring him out of retirement.
Yeah, exactly. So, those are kind of the top 12 that I was thinking for myself. But
I do like your list. Obviously, that I think Matthews deserves to be up that list a little bit. But also, I think Matt Tkachuk's in there for sure for me. He's like just a good all-around player. He's a player you hate to play against. He's skilled. He can honestly do everything you want in a player. So I like the list, and I think mine would be very similar. Obviously, for sure, top 3 I think are the same pretty much for everyone. But yeah, I like Matt Tkachuk in there for sure. And you'd think if you go back a few years, like does Stamkos get in? There's so many guys like that are just so close.
yeah.
And then, yeah, if you look this year, like, I was just looking at the overall, like, leads and certain points. But, like, he's not in my top 12 for sure, but, like, Brock Besser has 18 rips this year. Like, leading the NHL by a couple. That's pretty good. Even he's a player who's right up there. He's had a few off years, but I feel like the 12 to, let's say, 25 still going to be, like, unbelievably good.
Those are your top line players still.
For sure.
Exactly, yeah. No, yeah. Anyways, we'll move on from that. We'll get into Klingberg being out for the season now. So he's out, hip surgery, right? He was injured. So that frees up a lot of cap space and a lot of possibilities for Toronto to potentially explore a trade. We thought maybe sign Patrick Kane. Obviously, that did not happen. But, yeah, lots of possibility for a potential trade now looming. You got some cap space there. So any guys like in particular that you'd like to see maybe targeted, Kijo?
Well, the one I wanted to see just got traded, so that was a little unfortunate. I wanted Zadorov so bad. Just a big, scary defenseman. I think we talked about this in the past, but a team like Vegas just wins the Stanley Cup. All of their defensemen are massive. Like, they just clear the front of the net, throw the body. Like, Zadorov is perfect for that. And I think he's really going to help Vancouver. So I think we talked about like guys like Chris Tanev too. I want the big scary defenseman if you're me. So whether it's a trade or what it may be, I don't know who the Leafs are really willing to give up. Obviously, their forwards are pretty good. Talked about Nylander a lot, and then Matthews, Marner, Tavares, all those guys down the list. And I wanted Patty Kane, but okay, that's probably not the smartest decision. But you love watching your favorite team score goals, so that's why I was hoping Patty Kane would be on there. But I don't know. It's tough exactly who I would want to trade for now that Zadorov is gone, but they're gonna make a move for sure, and I just hope it's for a 6'4" big defenseman.
That Mario Ferraro's on the block. The Sharks are already taking calls on him, but yeah, I was thinking that he went for a third and a fifth to Vancouver. I feel like that upsets a lot of Leafs fans. Zadorov. I mean, like, you think that the Leafs must have like called Calgary asking about him, and I feel like he's definitely worth that to try and bring him in. Maybe they just didn't have the space at the time. They weren't really sure where Klingberg was with his injury. I don't know. Great deal for Vancouver.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking as well for that deal. Like, Leafs have a third and a fifth this year. The only pick they don't have right now is a second rounder. They are missing a first next year, they're missing a second next year, and they're missing a fourth next year. So they're a little thin on picks next year. But this year still, like, they have a first, they have a third, they have a fourth, they actually have 3 fifths as well right now. So they do got some picks that they could expend a little bit on bringing a guy in. I really like the Chris Tanev. I really like if Zadorov would have been available, that would have been a guy I would have pulled the trigger on. I like Ferraro as well. I'm a big Mario Ferraro fan, but he's a little smaller size. But he plays a really strong two-way game. Sean Walker from Philadelphia this year would be another decent one.
Are these pending UFAs, folks?
I think
Like Sean Walker there?
Walker is, he's UFA this year. He is, yep.
How about,
so he's
how about
rental.
Noah Hannafin? Speaking of Calgary again, he requested a trade earlier in the year or in the offseason, no? He's one of those guys who kind of wanted out. He's Hannafin.
Yeah.
Good righty.
Yeah.
Right-handed big D-man. Probably not overly physical, but
can also maybe is good at moving the puck up. Maybe plays on your second power play. Yeah. That'd be a great pickup. But you're going to have to pay, I think, a little bit more for him. Maybe give up a first. But no, it's like trying to find that. We'll see what the price is come like trade deadline. I feel like that's when maybe they'll pull the trigger, like they did last year. Was a little bit before the trade deadline. They kind of pulled the trigger on somebody like a week or two beforehand. So I think assess, see how they're doing a little bit more, and then figure out what they're looking for. But a D-man, I think, would be good to bring in.
I think they have to. Yeah, they have to probably use that pick.
All the UFAs and like the defensemen, obviously, and who are like the biggest guys. Like Zadorov, 6'6", 250. Like that is exactly what you want. You go down the list. Like there's a lot of big forwards actually, but like the next biggest guy on the list, UFA defenseman, Tyler Myers. Also with Vancouver. So
Vancouver's got the Twin Towers over there with
exactly.
Tyler Myers and Zadorov.
If they're picking a guy like Zadorov up, I don't think they're getting rid of Tyler Myers. I mean, if there's the right value there, you could potentially see it happen. But I don't know. We'll have to see. But with Klingberg being out, obviously Klingberg's not a big guy that lays the body and stuff, so would be a little bit of a switch there. But I honestly expected a lot more for him this year. He had a couple points in his first game and kind of tailed off from there. So obviously I hope the surgery helps him out, and I don't think we'll see him in the Leafs uniform again.
Yeah, no, I think apparently he turned down big money to come to Toronto as well too this offseason. Like he turned down some term, which would have been like, obviously now he's probably not going to be able to sign for anything more than like 2 or 3 million. I don't see a team paying him more than 2 or 3 million for a guy coming off hip surgery, plus for what he did in the time that he was active. Like it's tough to see him take a gamble like that and it not really pay off for himself. But that's the nature of the business. So
He's got some big regrets. He was coming off that massive year in Dallas, and he turned down something like a 7x7, something crazy because he wanted to bet on himself, thought he could get more, and then he went to Anaheim and just dissolved.
yeah, that's tough. So yeah, all the best from him and his recovery. We'll move along to the NHL salary cap. Some news there, set to increase a little bit by 4.2 million this offseason. That's got to help out a team that's looking to sign some stars this offseason. What do you think about that, Kijo?
It's obviously good. I wish it went up a while ago, like I think we all thought it was supposed to. I think this. I know the Leafs are always in the tight cap crunch, but it's gonna. I think every team's happy about this. Obviously, frees up some space for them right away. Yeah, I don't know. It's depending with Nylander too. Is this gonna be the little bit of cap space they need right away to get Nylander? Is it this year? It's going up or the following season?
I think it goes up.
Yeah, this coming up season.
Yeah, this coming up season. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're a team like Toronto and you thought you only had a certain amount of room for Nylander, or thinking about who's leaving and who's coming and who's going, that extra 4.2 million is definitely going to help. And yeah, like I said, it's going to help a lot of teams, but Toronto will definitely benefit from this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I wonder how teams approach the deadline now. Like, you're not really sure. Sometimes the cap only goes up like $1 million, but this has kind of been building over the years, right? And then all this, like, I don't know the last time there was like a $4 million increase, but now teams can kind of plan to like hold a whole other player into next year, right? So I wonder if they could try and trade for players with a little more term instead of people on expiring deals, kind of going that Tampa route.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if that strategy changes at all.
I think, yeah, for the Leafs, they need depth in terms of like D and forward. I like kind of what they got going on with their core. Bring Nylander back, and then try to have some depth with him. Like, you gotta have your horses, and then they gotta lead the way come playoff time. But you gotta surround them with the right guys. So easier said than done. Ottawa's going to expose them for what they are tomorrow night when they play on Thursday night. I can't wait to watch that at all. I don't know if this is the delusional side of me that's talking right now, because the Sens just had a big win last night against the Rangers, winning 6-2. But regardless, I'm looking forward to the Battle of Ontario tomorrow night.
They're getting pumped, buddy.
We'll see about that.
Sens are getting pumped.
We'll see about that. Anton Forsberg's playing like prime Martin Brodeur right now, so we'll see.
He'll be on the bench in the second period.
We'll see. I hope not. Oh boy. Hopefully his ACLs can last. We'll see.
Where is that? Is it Toronto or in Ottawa?
In Ottawa tomorrow night.
Well,
nice. It'll be full Leafs fans.
Yeah. Doesn't matter where it is. There's going to be 50% Leafs fans there in the building anyways.
And then they're in Detroit on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, it's a big week for Ottawa. Ottawa's got, I don't know who did their scheduling this year, but they have the most games in hand in the NHL right now. This is crazy. Like, teams have played like 26 games. Ottawa's sitting at 20 games. Like, I've been waiting to watch some hockey, and they're on twice a week. It's like Toronto's actually not far ahead of them. They only have 22 games played. But yeah, the Leafs also have like a bunch of games in hand right now. Like, mostly everybody's played like 24 to 26 games. And Ottawa's sitting here at 20.
You mentioned that, and I immediately just looked at the team that went over to Sweden. And yeah, you're right. Detroit's played 4 more games. Minnesota's played more games. So yeah, it's kind of odd that they started that slow.
I have no idea who scheduled it. And now, like, whoever it was just doesn't care about the Sens, because they're going to schedule like 15 games in 30 days at some point and just try to ruin them. But you know what? It's just they got to keep going. They had a good game against the Rangers the other day, and like Like they didn't outshoot them or anything. That's what worries me, is that maybe they just like they capitalized a little bit on their chances and they got out to a lead and then they held it. I like that. Like obviously a win's a win. We'll take it. We're not going to be too picky. But Rangers still had just as many shots as the Sens did. Forsberg played a good game. So we'll see how they handle the Leafs on Thursday night this week. It's a big one. Big one, because that's not just a 2-point game anymore. It's not like you're playing against like the Chicago Blackhawks or some team in the Western Conference, the Flames or whatever. Like these are 2 points in the Atlantic up for grabs, and then 2 more when we play Detroit as well. So those are huge games if Ottawa's looking to make up ground.
Can you confidently say that Ottawa's still going to make the playoffs?
Confidence level's gone down a little bit after reassessing the beginning of the year. Like they're dead last in the Atlantic right now, in part because they've only played 20 games, but like they're 6-4 in their last 10. They're on a 2-game win streak right now. Like they gotta just put it together more consistently. Like there has been some dark moments this year where like we won only like 1 out of 8 home games at one point, and people are still saying like fire DJ Smith. And like I said, as long as we're like 500 through November, that's a big step. Like that's putting ourselves a lot better than where we've been in previous years. And now they just gotta, continue to play like above 500. Like you gotta win 2, lose 1, essentially. And I think still the biggest thing that's hurt Ottawa, they're 10-10, and they haven't had Shabbat or Ridley Gregg the whole year as well. So having Ridley Gregg back last game, that made a huge difference. They had so much more depth. It allowed guys like Tarasenko to get going. Like Tarasenko was put up onto a line with Stützle and Giroux, and just overall everything was clicking for them last game. And I think partly it was because we had some depth down the middle going again, finally.
Are you, not that he's like a crazy all-star or anything, but are you disappointed with Dominic Kubalik's performance so far this year? I thought he would be better. I expected, like when he came over, I thought I was like, okay, he was good in Detroit. He's probably going to be good in Ottawa, and I haven't really seen much from him.
Yeah, he does not control play very well. He's more of just like a finisher with his chances. Like he's got a solid shot and he'll put the puck in the net when he gets like a good chance in the slot. But no, he's not out here like creating offense per se. Just like a good finisher, which there's a place for a good finisher in the NHL. Like that's more than like a guy like Rourke Chartier, who is exactly like how his name sounds like he is. He's Chartier. And he is just like a grinder on that third line, and you're not getting finish or you're not getting any offense created there with him. So at least Kubalik, if he gets a chance, he's okay at putting it in the net. Like he's shown he can do that a little bit this year with like his shot a little bit. But yeah, it's tough adjusting to a new team as well. Like Tarasenko's been up and down this year so far. He's got like 5 goals on the year. So up and down, tough to adjust, but solid depth piece still, which is what you need. So, which is what Ottawa needs a lot more of, I think, as well. Like Ridley Gregg was supposed to be that this year. Pinto was supposed to be that this year. And those guys, obviously who knows when he'll be back, but it's I think they still obviously are in the hunt. Like they're definitely not out of it. They're not in a position like Buffalo where they're 10-14. Like I think Buffalo's in a worse off place than they are. Montreal's 500. The Lightning are 500, and I feel just as confident that the Lightning could make it this year as I do the Sens. So we'll see what ends up happening. But big games this week against some Atlantic rivals. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to readdress next week.
Exactly.
See
yeah.
how Thursday and Saturday go.
Yeah, I'm optimistic right now just because of that Rangers win. So we'll see what happens.
Flows of a fan. it was crazy last night. Like Wings are up 4-0 in Buffalo, and it's just constant booing, like booing the players, booed them off the ice after the first and the second, and then like the Wings turtled and let them back in the game, and the fans are just like all over, like there's heckling me and me as well, and they're just like so rowdy, chanting for the Sabres, and it's like you were booing your team 20 minutes ago.
You flip anyone off last night or getting any fights?
No, it was all right.
Oh, okay.
Got to flex a little bit at the end, so
Nice.
that empty netter.
Yeah,
But
that
was
quieted the Sabres fans down real quick, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, they've had a tough go at it this year so far. So they're sitting 10-14 right now in terms of their record. So they 4-game losing skid as well right now. So it's tough for the Sabres, who are expecting to take like a jump forward this year as well, along with who I thought the Sens and some other teams. But it's surprising, like a team to me that's been great so far is Montreal. Like I'm shocked at how Montreal has been able to keep pace so far with everyone in the Atlantic. Like they're 500 despite as well some like injuries this year too. Like they could have easily have just caved in the season and thrown in the towel, like, but no, they're still playing good hockey. Like Monahan's been really solid. Like
He's
just
really bounced back.
Oh yeah, like Montreal's looked decent actually. So
he's the PK specialist out there.
Mike Matheson too. He's got 18 points in 25 games.
Yeah,
that's a big surprise there.
Great guy to have on the power play and on your fantasy team too if you picked him up. I didn't pick him up, but I wish I did. Yeah, Kate and Gooley's been good on their back end too. Like they've been solid this year. So give them credit. Gallagher's had a bit of a bounce back year. Like Tanner Pearson gives them some solid depth as well. Like they're a decent team.
You guys think Slavkovsky's going to be a bust? Sorry to go off topic, but I just saw his name.
He's still young. I would give him another year or two. Like again, all you want to see is just like improvement. And Slavkovsky was never projected to be like a superstar. Everyone in that draft, everyone was like, "This is a weak draft. This is a weak draft." Be aware that this first overall pick, whoever it's going to be, is not going to become like even like a Jack Hughes, like not anywhere near that. So like I've seen skill, like flash of skill from Cooley this year, and that would be like the piss off if I was Habs fan, is seeing like Cooley become a better player than Slavkovsky. They're different players, and I think I need to see like a few more years of development first before you can weigh in on who's going to be better, things like that.
We watched his first game too, folks, in Detroit last year, Slavkovsky.
Yeah.
And his skate, like, it's his skating. He just doesn't look natural coming from him. So I think that's probably his biggest weakness. His ankles and his knees are just like it's just not natural for him.
Yeah. He's got to work on his speed. Like, this year, he's got 7 points in 25 games. It's not great. He had 10 in 39 last year. So, like, the next step for improvement would be to have, like, 10 points in 30 games. So that's 9 less games than it would have taken him last year. And then, more importantly, to play a full season this year. To be healthy and improving. That way he can stay improving every day. I think that'd be big for him if he could do that this year. But like you don't have big expectations for him yet, that's for sure.
So speaking of young players, I was talking to my brother the other day, and he's a big Ducks fan, actually. And he's like, you got to give some credit to Leo Carlsson. So I was like, okay, like I have no idea. Haven't heard much of him this year. So I went and looked at the Ducks roster. And he's at like 14 points in 18 games. He's actually doing really well. He's got 8 goals. And so I started scrolling through that Ducks roster, and they've got like Tristan Luneau and Pavel Mintyukov on the back end who are putting up points. And their forwards are really young as well. So I don't know. Maybe maybe the Ducks are maybe like sneakily sort of doing the rebuild right. They got some young players that are producing. So yeah, credit's due for them. Good to see Carlson. He didn't even know if he was going to play in the NHL this year, right?
Yeah.
And he's performing pretty well in a limited role where the main story earlier on was that they were only going to play him like every other game because they didn't want to like tire him out, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
You guys remember Mason McTavish too on that team?
yeah,
didn't play?
McTavish is having a great year. Yeah.
You guys remember the McTavish World Junior moment where he knocks it off the goal line, saves it, goes down, and then scores?
Yeah.
That's got to be like top. I'd say like honestly, like that should be top World Junior moment almost of all time. That and like the Jordan Eberle goal for me
Yeah, really.
are like the top two, clear as day. Carey Price is up there with his save in the shootout. That whole shootout in general, just that as well could be a top one for sure. A lot of good ones there.
That's right around the corner too.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, hot take, but I kind of like it when it's in Europe more than in North America because I kind of like the 7:30, 8 a.m. games. Getting up, get your coffee, and you're just watching Canada. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
That is a hot take. Yeah, it's hard to say. Like I feel like it's when Canada has the home crowd advantage, it makes a huge difference for them. And when they're playing on North American sized ice, then they can play their game. Whereas the second they go over to Europe, you see like a lot of teams like Finland tend to do a little bit better at those tournaments than when they come over to North America. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it either way. Could be played outside for all I care. I'm just looking forward to some World Juniors over Christmas time. That'll be good. So another thing too, we'll move on. NHL draft coming up this off season, set to be hosted in the Sphere. That is going to be wild. Honestly, like that whole structure just kind of fascinates me. So I'm looking forward to see what kind of show they can put on there.
The last in-person draft before they decentralize it. So yeah, good little send-off. I think it's like pretty much confirmed. I think Bettman pretty much confirmed it, but it's not like pen to paper yet. But yeah, that would be incredible. Good publicity there for the NHL as well. I'm sure like there'll be some cool little videos on the outside Sphere in Vegas too, leading up to it and during. So
yeah,
be some cool clips.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Any thoughts on that, Kijo? NHL draft coming up.
The draft, I feel like it's something. This is definitely, it'll be different and it's good. I think it was something I used to really look forward to, and now it's just kind of like, I don't know. The draft is big when there's a guy like Bedard or McDavid, but to me, it's more about the lottery. Mm-hmm. Like for the top, like I don't know, 5 or so, the guys that you're really focusing in and like thinking about, you already kind of know where they're going. Like as soon as the lottery happened, it was like, okay, he's going to Chicago. Like we know. So the draft, I don't know. It's not like it's a big deal for me, but I don't know. I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
You know why you're not too worried about it, Kijo?
Don't even say it right now.
Because our team in the top 10, we care a lot more about that player going to the team as opposed to Leafs in the mid-20s.
Yeah, Leafs had a first round pick like for none of the years except for last year for a few years, so no wonder he didn't really care about it. I wouldn't tune in either if Ottawa wasn't really drafting. So Ottawa's been like bottom 5 for the past few years, so that's a huge deal. Yeah, so I get why they're decentralizing it though, and they're moving to kind of like an electronic or online format. Like it's a money thing as well too. Like if the NHL can do that while making as much money off of things like ads and all that stuff without having to host a venue, then they're grinning at that possibility.
You probably won't see nearly as many trades, just because like your desk, like you're sitting right beside the next GM table. You know they're all around you. You can just lean over, talk. Like So as opposed to having to pick up the phone
I'll
in
miss
like your
that
own, in
aspect
your
of
own
it.
arena.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So like they're just following the NBA and the NFL, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of cool to see like all the tables there, and it's like, oh, what's going on? Dubas is talking with Burke or something like that. It's like, are they cooking up a trade? It's the speculation was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So that will be missed, but it'll be a good venue this year. We'll see. Yeah, that'll be coming up in probably, what is it, like June? That's when the draft tends to be, June?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, June
usually end of June.
26th or something like that. Yeah. Yep. So,
Good day.
yeah, good stuff. Move on to kind of the last topic of today.
Yeah, what is the last topic of today?
Some interview etiquette. We're not talking about things that we're doing either because, like we said, we're not professionals on here. We do the best we can. We're talking interview etiquette for real life professionals here, guys who make a career out of this. One in particular who was interviewing Vasilevsky the other day, who couldn't hold his bowels, I guess you could say.
Like,
And he,
what is going on there? Like, there's no way that it's like I don't even know how to say this. Like, you either got to do it before you get in the room, or like before the cameras are rolling. Like, we're actually I don't know. I don't know how that happens. No idea.
yeah, you can't let a fart go in mid interview like that. Poor Vaz, like, you're in a confined space, man. There's people all around you. Why did he think that would be an acceptable thing to do? That's terrible. I
He
agree.
probably got lucky that he was interviewing a goalie, because if it was a player, probably would have let him have it back. But goalie, that they're just like stone cold. Probably
Imagine
just
if he was
tried
interviewing
to ignore
Torts.
it.
That was a Torts interview. Oh my, that would have been good.
Who's the guy that Torts always chirps or he gets into it with? Isn't it like Stevie or something like that? And it's not Stevie. Brooksy?
Brooksy.
Brooksy. If Brooksy let one go in an interview with Torts, Torts would have just absolutely threw something at him right there. I would have walked out of the interview. You kidding me? Credit for Vazzy for trying to even stay composed in that. Like, he started laughing trying to answer a question. I wouldn't even be able to think. It'd be like the scene from Step Brothers when it's like, was that a fart? It's like, I'm not sure. Yeah, it was. I can taste it. Yeah. It's on my tongue. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. That's brutal. I couldn't believe that. And it wasn't even... Maybe he thought it was going to be silent. I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough look. I wouldn't be letting him back in for interviews after that. That's tough. So...
Little off topic here, considering we're talking about hockey. Is Ohtani coming to the Jays, fellas?
Oh, I'd love to see that. I would. I really would. It'd be cool. He's he's only going to DH this year coming up probably, but I would love to see that.
Give him all the money he wants. Let's
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yep. That would be awesome. So, yeah,
I don't know anything about the baseball situation. I can't chime in on that one.
not a big
So-
baseball guy, Rory, confirmed.
Yeah, no, I'm not a baseball guy. So no bets between you two for the game tomorrow, eh? Putting you guys on the spot.
I mean, I'd make one.
Oh, what are we talking here? Let's talk dollars and
Ottawa's,
cents here.
Ottawa's got me feeling confident right now, so
Open up your wallet.
I'll
Let's
open
go.
up the wallet. I'll open it up. Let's go.
Fox has been hot with the bets lately.
Yeah, but every streak comes to an end, so.
He's already
That just
worried.
sends me
Come on, that's not
screenshots.
confident. You got to be confident.
All right, no, I am confident. Over 6.5 goals. I'm just kidding.
I knew that was coming.
No, let's see. Sends money line, obviously, and I'd be willing to.
Spread.
Yeah, puck line plus 1.5 for the Sens,
Get
because
out
the
of here.
Leafs always go to a shootout anyways, and then end up winning. So we'll go. That's another thing. Leafs have been to so many shootouts this year. That's insane. It's
I
like
know.
they got like the most shootout wins in the league. It's wild.
They only have like 5 regulation wins, I think.
That is absurd.
That's
You're
crazy.
down there with the Sharks. That is so wild. Not good for the tiebreaker.
Yeah. At least they're still finding a way to get it done, though. Like, you gotta give them credit for that. I'll say, what's a good bet here? What would be a good bet? Like, we've already made you wear a Sens jersey on the podcast, so we don't want you to have to relive that all over again after the Sens win tomorrow night. Let's go. Can't be something crazy either, like spray painting your Sens logo on your car or something like that, obviously. I'll say, like,
Can think of something too.
yeah, some sort of like Sens related Christmas gift would be nice. I'll leave that open ended.
That's not bad.
That's what I'll bet. If the Sens win, you owe me a Sens related Christmas gift. Open ended.
All right, and if the Leafs win, you get a Leafs tattoo. Sounds good.
Exactly, yeah. A big one right across my back. Or on my neck. The Leafs logo right here.
Right on your forehead.
Yeah. Like how they get the little teardrop, I'll just get a little leaf right here. A little blue leaf. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, it's confirmed. Locked in.
Yeah. If it's a peely tattoo that I can use water and paste it on and then peel it off, sure. I could do that.
All right, I like it. I like the Christmas gift idea.
You behind that as well? A Leafs one?
Yeah. If the Leafs win, I'll buy you a Leafs Christmas gift. How's that sound? Actually, I'm not gonna do that. It's just gonna go right in the garbage.
Because you'll want it. You'll want it yourself. Yeah. So I'll buy you a nice like 1967 poster or something like that for when they were the last time they won the cup. I'll get you something nice.
Oh, get out of here! Get out of here.
Yeah.
There's some good shots. I'm enjoying just getting to observe this. I just get to sit back and.
This is rivalry week. Rory, we should
Yeah.
do a bet for the Wings and the Sens now. I don't want to have to owe you guys 2 Christmas presents. If that happens, I'm going to be in a dark place next week, guys. I'm going to need a wellness check if the Sens drop the game to the Wings and the Leafs. Oh, boy. That won't be good news. It'll be 10-12, and it'll be dark times.
We
So
got the optimistic folks this week
Yeah.
after a win against the top of the Metro. And
yeah.
next week could be a totally different story.
Yeah, exactly. I could have been on here today ranting about DJ Smith, but don't worry, I just save it all for next week.
Hey,
There
maybe
we
it'll be
go.
the exact same thing as the Buffalo fans. You know, you're just dying to get DJ Smith out, but then maybe this time next week on the pod, DJ Smith is probably one of the best coaches in the league.
Oh, let's not get carried away here. But no, it is. We'll see where we're at next week. Take it week by week, game by game. That's what I'd be saying to the players on the Sens too. Don't get caught up in all that drama and just go focus on playing the best hockey you can. So get those wins because they all matter the same at the end of the year. So get those 2
Good luck
points.
to you too.
Yeah. We'll see how we fare tomorrow night, Kijo.
Looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good one.
Oh yeah, it'll be a good one. Alrighty, guys. Anything else to add before we sign off here?
No, that was pretty good. Covered a lot there.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So again, we're live every Wednesday at 6:30 on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and watch our episodes back on YouTube as well. Make sure you guys like, subscribe wherever you're listening or watching. Head on over to YouTube, subscribe to us as well so that you get notifications for when we do go live. And thanks everyone again for the continued support and for tuning in. And yeah, we'll see you all again next week. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching.